Welcome back to another episode of the Tribe Alliance podcast. Steven, Jared, myself, we're going to recap episode 8. Steven, what's up, man?
What's up? How's it going, boys? I'm
Back.
excited to recap this episode. We finally got the Survivor auction, which is awesome. And we got our boy Jared Roth back. Last you saw him was when we drafted our teams, and now he's back to recap the episode with us. What's up, Jared?
It's good to be here. It's great. It's great to be here. I'm excited to talk about this episode. I'm not so excited to talk about my picks from that first episode, but fortunately, I don't think anyone remembered, right?
People remember. It's on camera.
Oh,
Call it in 4K. Well, this isn't 4K.
Yeah, how's that Brando pick looking?
yeah, right. That Brando pick looking real good.
I mean, I thought it was a great pick too. So, yeah.
I mean, I would have, yeah.
You got swap screwed. It's all good. I love you, Brando.
Yeah, he did get swap screwed for sure. But yeah, we got Jared on, and this is around the early-ish merge, and Jared usually is in the games he plays the merge boot or like close to it because he's a big, strong guy, usually targeted early.
Not all the time. He's not always
not all the time. Yeah, tell him about that time.
Well, I may have saved Jared's behind one time. But he saved mine earlier in the game, to be fair.
I'll give Pat credit. Pat played idle on me and got 10 votes blocked, which previously was the record. It beat Wentworth plus 9 times 9 until Mr. Caleb defeated that record with his blocking of 11 votes. Give a lot of credit to Pat. Saved my bacon.
Well, honestly, if you want to really break it down, like shot in the dark and an idol, it's different in a sense.
True. Still the most blocked off from an idol.
Yeah, but not the total. You're not like the king at the top.
And not to take anything away from Caleb, but playing an idol is a lot more skillful than just like a shot in the dark.
Yeah, I mean, that's all luck because you don't need skill to play it. You just play it. I mean, I guess the skill is like knowing that you could be, having a good read, I guess. But regardless,
yeah,
Jared, you're still the king of the idol. It's fine.
Right. Not a tough read there, but don't want to take away credit. That was an epic vote.
Yeah.
Epic move by Caleb.
Yeah, we have another epic. I want to say probably the best blindside of the new era. One of them.
Absolutely.
It's got to be in the top 3 at least. I would have to think the others.
Yeah, both that one and Sabaya all in this season too, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean this season's rocking. Yeah, it's rocking, it's rolling, and we're getting a lot of things back that I always say is like this season is the first season since, before the pandemic that feels to me like Survivor in a sense, like not to take away from the other seasons, but the game has evolved in a sense, but they're touching back on some things that we've missed. And I love to see it because we got the auction back. I wonder if we're going to get the family visit back. I always said the family visit should like fall at the finale because it used to be like with the final, whatever, but you don't, when you're at the final, 10, you're at what day, like 13.
Right. It's different.
It's not that long.
39 days compared to 26. Yeah, I feel you on that. Like in terms of the 26 days, that makes sense for the family visit to come around the finale, but it's so much better when it doesn't come around the finale, when it's like final 8 or something, final 9, when there's more people who get to experience the whole family visit. We already have had plenty of time to get to know all the players and get excited to see them with their families. And exactly. By that time, they're probably like close to day 30 when they get their family. So yeah, I definitely want the family visit back. That is something that all fans love, all players love. So I hope they can bring that back. They stopped it, I think, because of COVID, but I mean, that's not that big of a deal anymore, right? So
I'm not big into the home visits.
Really?
You
I didn't
serious?
realize I'd be throwing fire this
That's
quick
crazy.
on pod. I do want to go back to Caleb and give him his blessings, but going back to the what am I saying? The family visit. Like it's 26 days. It's 26. Has like any of these people never gone to college and like you're away from your family? Like this all maybe I'm being a hater, maybe because I've never been like hungry, and away from my folks. and the whole lack of trust. I guess I don't have a lot of empathy, but to me, it's like, he signed up for it, and I'm always amazed at I'm amazed at the reactions. I don't know.
But as a viewer, it's a good moment, you know. So
And
like,
also, like, yeah, you'd
I
think.
love it. I shed a tear every now and then.
Yeah, yeah. It's like when you're watching it, you don't you're like, oh, it's like only been like a few weeks. Like, why do they care so much and start crying hysterically because they see one family member? I now, like, thinking about like what they're going through, they're barely eating for almost a month, and they're also like they can't trust anyone. Like they think everyone's out to get them, and now they see someone from home that they know is not out to get them. Like I totally understand the feeling. I Some of the reactions are a little over the top, but
Well,
I understand why they're over the top.
I do think there's a lot of room for it to be redone, like the auction. I don't know how that would look like, to be honest with
Auction
you.
off
Yeah, but
the
I do think
family visit, the family members. They did that one season, I think.
they did do that, like with the letters, I think. While I got the floor, I just got to say with Caleb before we get into the new episodes, um, I see, admittedly, like respect him a lot. I mean, I feel like one of the best players to exude the three main characteristics of Survivor: and social, strategic, and physical. And I think if I watched him at a younger age, he would have been my all-time favorite player. I just hold him in that high regard. I think a lot of people, when you talk about favorite players, they try to look for a player that like resembles yourself, to someone you can, relate. And being someone myself around the same age in software sales that likes to, exude the same characteristics, or try to, I respect Caleb a lot. I respected Malcolm a lot. He was my favorite player. He is my favorite player. I think he fits in the same vein. So just give a lot of credit to Caleb, and glad he had his great moment in history, and wish we saw him more. Not to take away from the other contestants, but just wanted to give that shout out to Caleb before we move on to this next episode.
yeah, no, I mean, Caleb's great. I mean, it just came to a point to where he was seen for what everything you just described.
How good are these Ponderosa episodes going to be?
Oh,
I don't
I
think they're
don't
gonna
think
be
they
done,
do
right?
Ponderosa anymore,
Oh, that's such a
which
that's
is
such a bummer.
terrible. But
Yeah, bring
Can
that
you
back.
do
Bring back Ponderosa videos. Bring back Ponderosa videos, please.
yeah, while they're already bringing back the auction, let's bring back some more. Bring back the family visits. Bring back the Ponderosa.
just
Yeah,
the way this past episode went? I'm not sure if we're supposed to say the name of who got eliminated yet, but
Yeah, we
just
can.
yeah, go
okay,
ahead.
the way Kelly went out. I mean, would that
Yeah,
would have been the spiciest Ponderosa of like all time, arguably.
Yeah. Oh
would
my
have been up
God.
there for sure. But we'll get, we're gonna get into this episode. Episode 8 this season is moving along. 90 minutes. It's a blessing. It's open this, game wide open into a new light. I have, so many good things to say about this season.
Oh yeah, for sure. So many great blind sides. A lot of like the Caleb play with the shot in the dark. Just a lot of fun twists so far, and good tribal councils, and the 90 minutes. It's made it just such an amazing season.
Game changer.
Yeah.
Not to reference 34, but
Yeah.
game changer.
Hmm.
Look, I don't mean to come in as the new guy and just like, yeah, I'm gonna make myself at home, but I gotta play devil's advocate on two things. I'm not gonna argue that this is not the best season since the new era. That's easy. But I've talked to some sources, some people in my inner circle, and they argue that this season hasn't been as enjoyable because the people just aren't as likable for whatever reason. They don't love some of the people, like personality wise. And I thought that was very interesting because I'm looking at it from your perspective, like, oh, this game is great. We just had two great tribals in a row, and there's a lot of compelling gameplay going on. But I have to throw it to you guys. I mean, is there any validity to that comment where the people just aren't maybe as rootable?
Well, for me, I've never loved a Survivor player the way that I love Jake O'Kane. Yeah, like,
Say that.
dude, I love him. He is the man. I want to be best friends with him. I want him to come on the podcast. and like I want to drink a beer with him. Like I think he is the fucking man. Caleb, awesome.
We got
Brandon,
some bromances.
awesome. Huh?
We got some bromances. You
Oh,
and Jake and me and Caleb, man. We
yeah.
got some bromances going.
And at this point, it's me and Drew. I
Yeah,
love
like
Drew.
I mean, also it's like Drew, cool.
I'm,
Austin,
I'm obsessed
cool.
with Drew.
Kelly, cool. Like Katura, cool, badass.
Uh,
Like Julie, nice. Like I love
Let's chill out with Katura.
please, I was just about to say, let's
dude.
pump the
When
brakes.
she wins in the end, bro. When she wins in
If
the end, you'll be
Katura
like,
wins at the end,
Um,
I'm done. I won't even with this editing bullshit if
dude,
Katura wins.
that's not
that's
her
like,
fault.
I think a winner is a big indicator how good the season is, and a Katura win has jeopardy of this not being the best season in the new era.
All right, what about Kendra wins?
Same thing.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, I would be okay with Kendra go making the end of the game, but I don't want either of them to win.
Okay, a Jake win.
Oh,
Uh,
that,
a Jake one would be fun, but I don't know if it's actually gonna happen.
me neither. I don't think it's happening.
Oh no, I see a redemption arc for my boy.
I don't know. I kind of feel like Jake is gonna play like an Owen game if he makes it to the end.
What,
I
just
don't
like
think
have
he
no
has any
one want to
clout.
work with him?
He might just make it to the end just because he makes it to the end. Like I don't know.
But like that was, Owen was really just nothing was like working for him. That I could
think
see
it's a
Jake
great
having a
time.
similar narrative though, where just nothing
Yeah.
goes his way.
But I do think he would be able to do a better job at Final Tribal Council selling that underdog story than Owen would.
Yeah, I
I
mean, he's
think
an actor
Owen.
for crying out loud.
I thought. I thought Owen did as good of a job as possible selling his story. I think Jake
Right.
really has an Owen narrative going on. His ride or die is Bruce right now. That is not good.
Yeah.
Not good that your closest ally is
It's
Bruce.
also really funny that Jake always says his ride or die is Bruce, and then Bruce always says it's Kelly and never brings up Jake. He's like, yeah, Jake's all right. I'm like, it's pretty
Terrible.
funny.
Because Jake would be my number one. 100%.
I feel like I would work with a Caleb or a Drew.
I would love to work with if I was on Bello instead of Brando, let's say. Okay. I'm working with Jay. I want to work with Jay, Kelly, and then like one of the other girls.
I would want to work with Jake and Kelly and just have us be the core three, and then figure out how to
I want a
survive.
Bello 4.
Hey,
Kelly, Katura, and Jake.
Pat, if it's me or Jake, who you pick?
Well, I feel like Jake would be more willing to blindside me.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, come on. All right. Well, with everything being said,
yeah.
it's a great
Let's get
season.
into
We're gonna
the-
get into this. Yeah.
All right,
Bring us in.
awesome. So, I loved how Drew said that Emily would be an ally that he knows he can trust for at least a few days. That was pretty funny. It was like, oh yeah, just for a few days, and after that, I don't know.
Well, they only have a few days left. I mean,
Yeah, true. And then Bruce says how Jake is now a liability because he voted in the majority. I think it's pretty funny that Bruce is saying Jake's a liability when Bruce is the biggest liability on the beach.
certainly.
Um,
Sure.
and then Julie and Jake have a little talk. Jake tries to do damage control, but it's pretty obvious that they're not going to work together in the future.
Dude, that was an awesome scene.
That was
Julie was awesome there.
Mm-hmm.
And Julie was like, "Well, you'll like it when your name's written down or whatever." She said it was badass, and Jake was just like, "Yeah, I know." He's like, "Yeah, I know it's coming."
Jake was like, "I put on a good performance, right?"
I give Jake a lot of credit for just being like, it's me.
Yeah,
I love that. That was really attractive. Like he owned it. That was
Yeah.
really
It
cool.
was smart because I feel like it was pretty obvious that Katura was the one. I don't think it would have been interesting if Jake lied and was like, no, like Katura was the one who voted
Yeah.
for you, Julie. That would have
That would
backfired.
have been bad. Agreed.
yeah. I think he said it clearly. He was like, "I'm not gonna like try to play too reckless. Like I have to just like try to do whatever." You know what I mean?
Hmm.
To like not
I
be like.
I also think his position in the game doesn't change even if he votes along with with Caleb if it's 5-1. I mean, he's still being considered one of the Bello guys. He's still being considered close to Bruce. It's not like it's a 5-1 and Julie is going to be like, oh yeah, we should work with Jake. Like, so I
I
don't
think
mind
it just
it at all.
rules out Jake as a possible ally. Like I don't think Julie would have worked with Jake regardless, but at least that makes
That
it
is
solidified that definitely Julie's not going to work with Jake. And it also actually worked out well for Katura because now the Reba people want to save Katura rather than possibly think of Katura as one of the Bellows.
Well, that's good for Katura.
Yeah, definitely
Just
good.
saying.
One question I had for you guys. I didn't mean to slow your roll, Steve, but I was kind of surprised that the Bellows, at the beginning of the episode, it looks like it's going to be a Reba Bello, but with Julie and Jake, saying that. And the Bellows just really fell apart. I'm wondering if that's because Bruce was persona non grata, and B, did they never have Emily on their side? At 9, Emily could maybe be like the swing. Was Emily always Team Reba and Bella was
Yeah.
actually going to have to splinter?
Yeah. And Bello also, for so long, has not been able to vote out a member of their tribe. And there's been so much festering in that Bello group about like them wanting to go after each other, and they've been trying to stick together for as many votes as possible, but there comes a point where like they just need to turn on each other. They need to
Yeah.
get someone out that they just can't play with. Like obviously they want to get Bruce out, but then now that Bruce is immune, they have to go after someone Bruce is close to, or else Bruce and the Bellows will have the numbers. And the Bellows know this and are just trying to save themselves. But again, I think it's so stupid that they're not working together because they should
Right.
realize that Reba, they have 4 people left. They're close with Emily, and the 4 people that they have left, all of them agreed, let's get out J Maya, let's get out Sifu. So obviously they must be close if they're all on the same page about getting the other 2 people out. So they should have figured out that Reba and Emily are going to work together, and they should have kept their Bellows together. But yeah,
I
it's
think
just yeah.
I think Emily's in an interesting spot because I understand that she trusts Austin and Drew the most,
Mm-hmm.
but those 4 Rebas are like strong, lock solid.
Very strong.
And she needs to be considering whether she can be a little bit of a flip flop,
Well,
at times, or else she might just be like a goat at the very end.
well, something to consider too is, if they're in the final 5, those 5, right? Like if you have the Reba 4 and you have Emily, if Austin and Drew and then the girls go at it, she's the swing there, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
I
And
just
that's a
can't see her.
position to get yourself to at least fire, you know?
But I don't think that that it's going to be that way, and then they're just going to take out the Bellows. I feel like one of the duos of Reba is going to turn on the other duo, um, based on just like them being big threats as well. But we'll see who strikes first. I feel like they're going to strike on D first, my personal opinion, but
I don't know. I feel like they would maybe call it too early and just, why don't you just take out Kendra? Then you just like, you know,
I'm not saying that D's necessarily going next, but
yeah,
like I think that when the Rebas turn on each other, I think D will be the one that goes home.
it could
I don't
be.
know about that because
I think Drew's the first one going in that 4. I think Drew's gonna
Drew?
try to make a move that backfires.
I don't know. I think Drew's making it either to the end or Final Four. I really do.
I actually think Austin goes further.
Austin's like he
loaded.
at this point he seems like an easy Final Five boot, unless he wins immunity there. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
it's
my
really gonna
prediction.
depend on all of them.
He's got 2 idols now. Now that Kelly's out,
It's wild.
and the only people that know about the amulet idol are Drew and Emily, and everybody else. And Julie and D. So like all of Reba and Emily know that Austin at least has 1 idol, and then all of Reba knows that Austin has 2 idols, but none of the Bellows know this. So that's also going to be something interesting. I don't think Austin's going to be a target in the next couple of votes. And then after that, he's going to have like a James Clemens situation where he's got like 3 tribal councils left and like 2 idols.
Yeah.
I just think D is going to be the one to like flip. She just seems like the most antsy, like that. So I'm kind of with Pat, where I think Drew or Julie get blindsided in that group, just as I think D and Austin are a little more, reckless.
Well, I
Mhm.
also, to say off your point, like I think Austin might be in the best. Well, obviously, even if he didn't have the idols, he's in the best spot in that four, I think, because
Mhm.
Drew would cut the two girls before she cuts, like before he cuts Austin, right? And I
Mhm.
think D would be more inclined. She might cut Julie before she cuts. I think her and Austin are really tight. I think that's like
I
a
think I think there might be a showman's blooming. I don't know.
yeah. They don't have much time to show it, if you know what I mean. So
And
like,
who?
I
Yeah,
feel like it's already been brewing.
Between who?
D and Austin. I don't know. They really love each other's company. Like you
Yeah,
should have seen how Austin was talking on the never next the scenes from the next
that's what I
episode.
got it from.
Yeah.
I I
I was
I,
kind of
I
like thinking they were flirting,
I
maybe.
don't think there actually is going to be a showmance with
Probably
them
not.
because or else I feel like Jeff Probst would have like said something like before the season started to get people excited for another showmance, but I can see them being like a showmance that's not actually a showmance.
Yeah,
I my mother says I'm oblivious, but I need something as overt as Matt and Franny in order for me to see a showmance.
yeah.
So I need
Yeah.
something that obvious.
Need
So
some more
Like
clarity.
maybe they're a flirt mance. Not actually a showmance, but like they're just like flirting with each other.
I give Austin a lot of credit. Just like to me, he kind of seems similar as a Caleb. Like, good looking, physical, but also smart and obviously strategic, and social. And yet no one has really put him on the same threat level as Caleb
Well,
this
it's
whole
because Austin's not like really talking to everyone and trying to form multiple alliances. Caleb being with only Emily left in the game going into the merge, it made it so obvious that he's trying to play both sides. If you're part of Reba, it's kind of hard to play both sides without your Reba people being like, or like, are you kidding me? Like, are you seriously trying to like make alliances with the enemy? So I
good
think,
point.
Yeah,
yeah, that could be why.
Point.
yeah. I mean, I see a lot of people like call Austin like a bit boring. I don't. Do you guys agree with that?
I don't.
I don't.
Well,
I think
the
he's just
only
more like mellow. I think he's just like really chill. Like I think he's just in a good spot. We've never seen him really in a huge sense of worry. Like I think he's just in a really good spot, and I think that he's just playing like into who he is. Like I think he's just chill, happy-go-lucky
the
dude.
thing is when we get like confessionals from Austin specifically, I think like maybe like 80% of his confessionals are either about his sandwich or about his idols.
Right.
It's really that's really it. That's why people probably think he's boring because there's no like strategy, there's no depth to it. Whenever there's strategy talk, it's Drew. Whenever there's advantage talk, it's Austin. So
True.
Speaking of the sandwich, uh, there is rumors out there that it was Kelly who got voted out because she got a sandwich at the auction.
I said that. So I was when I was watching that at St. Pat's. I told everybody when I saw Kelly get the sandwich, like, oh my God, Kelly got a sandwich and Austin didn't.
Yeah.
Wild.
I can't take credit. I had a buddy send me that. That was something tweeted out on X or
That's
Twitter,
pretty
or
funny.
whatever we call it. But I thought that was hilarious.
I
uh,
would love for a confessional from Austin going like at the start of episode 9 saying like that she prevented me from getting a sandwich and then she got one at the auction. She had to go.
I want to see Austin get a contract with Subway or Blimpie.
Yes, that
Like
would be
that.
awesome.
We need that. Going to the boring though. I'm a little disappointed in Drew's confessionals. For some reason, I don't see as much Drew, and we come out early in the season being like, "I'm Basile," I got like smart nerdy, and then I'm like out here wild, and I don't know if it's just the toll of playing a Survivor game. I'm gonna give him that benefit of the doubt, but I kind of miss seeing more of that Basile. I really.
Okay, okay. I thought you were saying like Drew is like not really in the confessional.
No, I think he's
Okay.
like one of the most entertaining people out there for easily.
Yeah. So
Um,
yeah, Drew has a lot of confessionals. Basile doesn't seem to have a lot of confessionals. Yeah.
right. That's kind of what I'm getting at. And that's understandable given the stakes of
Mm.
Survivor, but I just kind of wish there was a little more Basile.
Well, he's making moves. I mean, he
That Kelly
orchestrated
move,
that.
even though Austin was and Emily were the ones who kind of like took credit for it, like it was I mean from what we saw, it was Drew.
Yeah, it was definitely Drew. It had to have been Drew.
Yeah.
But to get back into the episode, we see that there could be an alliance starting to form. It could be all smoke. You know, the girls are sitting together. They say there's 6 of them. There's 4, 4 guys, and the guys are probably thinking the same thing. And we
But
hear
they're talking about tacos.
but they're talking about tacos, right? I mean, granted, like there's a lot of time out there to be talking about a lot of things, right?
Right,
But I
right.
thought that was a funny moment for sure.
Mhm.
But did we think that this girls' alliance was like held any weight at all? Like I don't even think when it was pitched that I believed it for a second. Emily was never
I
doing
don't
that.
I don't think that like the alliance itself is was legit, but I did think it made sense for them to work together for this vote because they wanted to get out Bruce. Just the fact that the Bruce is a guy and they
Yeah.
wanted Bruce out, then I guess you could say, oh, all girls together. But I don't think that was gonna last long. I thought by episode 9 it would not have lasted any longer than that, but it didn't even last an episode.
Yeah. It was never gonna stick.
We got Kelly's finally ready to make a move on Bruce. She's been waiting a while, trying to keep Bruce in the game for as long as she could, but now she's ready to turn on Bruce.
How ridiculous it was during Tribal, where Bruce was basically like to Jeff, how many people have never had a vote but won immunity before? And
Big
like just
ego
like
thing.
basically like, hey Jeff, like acknowledge me for making Survivor history. Like big fucking whoop, excuse my language, but who gives a flying fuck about that Survivor history?
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God, I don't follow too much of the post game stuff, from these contestants, but I would love to hear him on an interview, maybe on this podcast, if we're lucky enough, just talking about like, what's your reaction to seeing you smell your own fucking farts? Like, being called out on it. I just,
Wait, what was that?
Smell his farts? What?
yeah, he just loves the sound of his own voice, loves the smell.
Oh, I
Gotcha,
thought you meant that
gotcha,
you
gotcha.
actually like enjoyed that.
I mean, that's a New York,
I mean, maybe he did.
well, that's just a Jared idiom, but you know what I
Oh,
mean.
good.
Um, he probably does love the smell of his own fart. I'm sure that the fucking tree thing that you have as the car scent is a Bruce flavored fart. I like. I mean,
It's on his merch store.
yeah. Um,
Terrible.
yeah. So anyway, I thought that was pretty unbelievable. But it always amazes me with Survivor how they pick a challenge, and the person that is being talked about to go home and it like wins.
Yeah.
And Survivor is just a Picasso at setting that up.
Mhm.
They do a really good job setting it up, but it's also like it amazes me how much uh like footage they have of to be able to use it and make it seem like that this person's about to go home. Like it definitely
A lot
probably
out there.
wasn't like a lot of times in Survivor, it's not like as obvious if you're in the game that that person was actually going to be the target and they just edited around it. But there obviously had to have been talk about them going home for it to be included in the episode. So it's really crazy how a lot of times the person who actually was going to be the target ends up winning immunity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
incredible. It's
And
always
with
been a debate for a long time. Does Survivor like plan that on the fly or not? And you look at these challenge setups, and sometimes I just think like that's just luck of the draw. Like, but I think that's up for people like you guys, because you guys know about more of the show than me, or maybe
I think it's right. I think it's already set in stone. Yeah.
think, yeah, that's just incredible because that happens so many times.
hmm
Um,
Yeah, and then like I was talking about the last 2 episodes, um, the whole idea that after the opening credits, when Dee's name is shown, how there's always a picture, and that kind of like sets up what's a big thing that's about to happen in the episode. And last episode, I predicted that it was going to be the gavel hitting the table, and that's what it ended up being. So I'm going to give another prediction, see if I get it right the next time. I think that because of what we saw in the scenes from the next episode about the whole losing the vote thing, I think it'll be like the parchment that says like you don't have a vote. Please return to your seat, like something like that. I think that might be the image. So we'll see if I'm right there.
the game is centered around voting, and when we take away voting, and we'll talk about this, but like,
Hmm.
when we take away the premise of the show, I get confused. Like I'm just like I don't like a final nine vote with 6 votes. Like it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, exactly. Um, that I'm not excited about at all. But
Okay with like losing it every now and then, like when it happens like sporadically and like one person loses their vote and like how it kind of happened with Bruce. But like I'm not a huge fan of like there's this like all these like if we're gonna have to do all these like double tribals, split tribals, three tribes, like whatever, and then do like not a normal merge, like at least give like when you start like at the final 10 if you want to start like having normal survivor merge start, like don't just let it ride till fire. Like you know what I mean?
Mhm. And so I was going to talk about this later, but I might as well bring it up now. There's uh there was a episode 9 description preview that was posted by CBS. And the description says that it's going to be a 3-part immunity challenge and that some people will end up going on a journey to make a difficult decision. So if and then I rewatched what was said in the scenes from the next episode and how Jeff said that all 3 players will lose their vote at the next tribal council. I think that was the tail end of him explaining the rules for the journey, and then like if the 3 members who go on the journey do not agree, or if all of them risk their vote or something, then all 3 will lose their vote. Like I don't think actually 3 people are losing their vote unless they like all choose like the same option at the journey or something. I think that's my guess on what it was, because they obviously they want to make you think something's about to happen in the next scenes from the next episode to get you excited for the episode, but then not actually be exactly what is shown.
Or it could be like something like where like all 3 of them will go on a journey and they will have to like cast like one vote, like, and if they like can't come to a consensus, like then like I don't really know how.
Yeah, something, I don't know, but
Steven,
I think it has something to do with the journey.
I love your take so much. I got nothing to add. I thought that was like really like spot on. I'm the type of person, I look at the previews and I'm like, oh yeah, that's happening. Oh, we're only gonna have 6 people voting.
Yeah,
I love your take, Steven.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
steal that as my prediction for the episode.
Okay, perfect. So a boat appears with a table and baskets with everyone's name on them, and the survivor auction is back.
let's
But
go.
but they don't have $500 each. They got to search the island for 40 pieces of bamboo with money in them and different amounts of money in each one. Um, and so you can get either unlucky or lucky based on how much money was in the bamboo tubes. And everyone's running around the island except for Bruce, who is just walking, taking his sweet ass time. And everyone's running past Bruce, and he's like, I can't find anything. And then, literally, like 2 seconds after he walks past one, someone comes around and grabs it. Like, I thought it was really funny when Drew like took it and looked at the camera like,
Yeah,
so
I mean, I don't know why Bruce wasn't like hustling for it. I don't really get it.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe he didn't want to expend so much energy. I don't know.
You're about to go like sit at an auction afterwards. Like you're about to be there for like a hot minute. You're not really exerting much energy after that for like a time being. I just don't understand the strategy. But with Bruce, I don't understand a lot of the strategy, which is fine.
Too
Mhm.
cool for
Yeah,
school. Sometimes, you're just trying to act too cool for school. Maybe that was it. Maybe he didn't
lazy
want
Uncle
to
Bruce.
make his button down sweaty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. Um, I love the beginning. Like I thought that was so captivating the way they did that. I loved how people started that with different amounts of money. I thought that was so intriguing how they did that. I don't know how I feel about the rest of the auction personally, but
hmm
I'll let you guys get into that. I'm still kind of iffy on the rest of the auction, how I feel about it.
yeah. The auction has 3 new twists. One is that everyone's gonna have different amounts and have to search for them at camp. 2 is that there's no advantages. That I kind of like that because then people actually had to bid their money. They weren't waiting for an advantage. Um, and then 3 is whoever had the most money at the end loses their vote, and the auction will end without warning based on the rock that Jeff pulls out with the number of items written on it from like 6 to 15. Um, so I I liked the different money amounts and having to search through the idle twist. I liked the whoever has the most money at the end loses their vote twist, but I hated them together. They don't work well together. You need to have one or the other because it ended up being after the first like two, honestly, I think two or three items, it ended up being just whoever has the most money ended up getting that item. And it wasn't about, oh, I really want that food item, let me bid more,
Yeah,
which
it
kind of
kind of
just
just
defeated the
wasn't.
purpose of the auction.
I don't think it went the way that they thought it would. And
Yeah.
I think we could just go back to like having a fun auction where there's no like risk, like you just like you auction and you just have money. Because I like the beginning. They changed it up by having the beginning where you have different amounts, right? So someone could have like $300 less and it could cause like a social dynamic rift if you take something that someone else wants. There's no like risk of losing your vote. There's no, you know what I mean? I don't know that I loved like the losing the vote, but I've already said that 100 times. But everything else about the auction was cool. I didn't like watching Austin eat the fisheye.
I
That
thought that was pretty funny. I kind of
looked like
liked
an
it.
apple. It looked like he was biting into an apple.
It was so hard to eat that. It was so hard to chew.
Yeah, I would never do
And then
that.
it just ended up
But
being just mush and squishy. Oh,
Good
but I
protein.
mean, it's Survivor. Like, come on. I'm glad they showed something
oh
like
yeah,
that.
I mean I'm glad. I'm just like, that's
Yeah.
nasty. But I mean maybe I would do the same. Probably not.
For me, it was just
I
really
wouldn't.
difficult watching like them spending like 3 digits on food items that really should be cost like $10. Like, look, I live in Hoboken, New Jersey. I know what expensive pizza is like, but to pay, what was it, $600
$600 for a slice of
for
pepperoni
for
pizza.
a slice of pizza, and it wasn't even a complete meat lovers. It was only pepperoni. That was a little tough for me to watch. But one idea I was just thinking about as I'm hearing you talk, Stephen, was if they actually did include advantages, or even if they didn't say that there was no advantages, like they just left it like maybe there are advantages, maybe there aren't. And then you have this dynamic where people want to spend money so they don't lose a vote, but you have at the same time people maybe want to keep their money in the hopes that there's an advantage.
That will make the two twists combined better. Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
Yeah.
do. I
Yeah.
love that idea. I really
First
do.
good idea I had.
Jeff Probst, take notes.
Honestly. Jeez.
Best thing I ever thought
I
of.
like that because yeah, exactly. Because then someone who has a lot of money might risk losing their vote so that they can eventually get the advantage.
Right,
Uh,
right.
and then there's a chance that let's say the advantage is the 11th item and they only had 10 items, then nobody gets an advantage and the person waiting for the advantage ends up losing their vote. So I like it. I think that would fix it a little bit.
And I also think the auction's a good opportunity to incorporate the loved ones thing as well with the letters. I think that's kind of intriguing too. Just, you got like the hygiene with the toothbrush with Julie. You got the food, that need. How about the need for some TLC, tender love and care?
I kind of liked it when it was like I think it was Guatemala where I think like Judd and Stephanie were able to like at the auction bid for their loved ones to stay, and then everyone else's loved one like left. I would like that to be part of it, where you can like actually bid on the actual person. Like I feel like in a 26-day game, I don't know if letters really are gonna. I mean, apparently they do a lot. Like they always make people cry, but I feel like letters are kind of like useless. It's just like words that they wrote, like, rather than actually seeing them in person. So
Yeah.
if they were,
What is this? Reading material? What is this?
yeah,
Well, I mean, I don't
better to have some sort of reading material than none, I guess. I don't know.
Yes.
know. I think it's about like you can see this person saying what they're saying to you, and it kind of just hits you in a spot that you can't really resonate with unless you've been there. It's tough.
Yeah, like seeing the person, you get to experience a day with them, and then they're gone. But the
Yeah,
letters is like not as cool as seeing them in person, but at least you get to keep them for the whole game, and like that could be like your something to help fuel you for the rest of the game.
absolutely. Yeah.
Want to mention one other thing, by the way. And Pat, if you had something, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
Okay. I love that they didn't end it on the chocolate cake. Historically, the chocolate cake has been the last item in an auction, and to me, that kind of threw me off. I'm thinking like, oh man, it's gonna be Kelly to lose a vote. Chocolate cake just came out, and they actually didn't end it on that. I thought that was a good move on Survivor's part on that.
Yeah, I'm glad that they included the chocolate cake again because that's always, something so much fun to watch. Um, Bruce annoyed the crap out of me. I was so pissed off at him. Everyone else
Annoyed
was
you?
like ripping it. He would like grab with like two fingers and put a piece in his mouth. Grab with two fingers. I'm like, what are we using? Chopsticks? Like, you have 1 minute to eat as much cake as possible. Just dig in. I was
After
like,
he volunteered too, he was literally
yeah. He literally was
Jake's
like,
like,
I'm really
"Who's
hungry.
And it's like again, he doesn't want to get his button down dirty.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And what do you guys think about Jake's picks? I understand Bruce, but the Julie pick, do you think it was because her mouth was clean, or was it to try to do damage control?
Definitely do
Definitely
damage control.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, too, it's like out of who's sitting there, it's like who else is he really gonna pick? He's gonna pick Bruce. I feel like he picks Bruce regardless. Like, even if Bruce
Mhm.
was like, I'm so hungry. Like, no shit, we all are, bro. But I guess, he hadn't eaten that whole option, so I'll cut him some slack.
No one seemed that interested in like being the volunteer for chocolate cake. Maybe because everyone was like eating and fed by that point. Like no one was really like, I want to do it. I really desperately need it.
Yeah,
I don't
Bruce
know.
was the only one
I
other
guess they
than
know they're gonna shit bricks for the next fucking 4 hours if they ate that cake too.
yeah. And Bruce was the only one at the time that didn't have food. Other than Julie. So Julie and Bruce were the only ones that didn't eat at the auction other than Jake, which is also I don't know if that was at all going
And
through his mind,
Couture,
but it
right?
makes sense.
Couture didn't eat, right?
Oh right, she almost had fish eyes, yeah.
That was crazy, dude. Austin's just like a fucking apple.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah.
And the little slurp up after at the end. Ugh.
Yeah. Steve, tell me what you think about Drew, asking for the negotiation and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, Drew asking for Jeff to negotiate the chocolate like candy. I
Yeah.
thought that was funny. I wish Jeff said yes to that, but it was kind of funny that he was like, "No, I'm not negotiating with you."
Yeah.
But I felt bad for Drew because that was honestly terrible. Like the fact that it was either fish eyes or a small bowl of candy, were the two options that Katura could have picked. Like they didn't seem like great options either way.
Yeah, it was just like a
They
bad.
should have had one of them really good, one of them really bad, but they were kind of like one really bad, one mediocre.
Yeah.
I think D won the auction. Just thinking about all the items, like
A chocolate milkshake for $900. You think D won the auction?
like looking at all the food items, like pretzel and beer. No, I
Yes.
guess Chili's was good with the
Pretzel and beer. What are you talking about? I thought that was a stupid one.
I'll
yeah,
take it
no.
out of the ones that were there.
I'm saying like of all the items, like Kelly's with that margarita sandwich chips,
That was really
D
good.
with the charcuterie board was good, and then D with the chocolate milkshake. Maybe I'll give it to Emily and Kelly. They had the better food options, but that chocolate milkshake did
Kelly
look.
had the fries. Fries were. I mean,
Oh, Emily had
that's a
two other
good first side
fries.
dish.
I'm sorry.
Kelly had fries.
Oh, Kelly had fries and yeah, that's a good point. And the sandwich. Okay,
But yeah, there
bad
weren't there
take.
weren't
Bad take.
that
D didn't win the auction. Bad
there,
take.
there weren't many great ones. There were no burgers. There was no cheesesteak, no chicken. I was like, are you kidding me? Like those are the best. Those are the most exciting ones to give out. I was
Yeah,
kind of upset.
I'm with you. A lot of candy chocolate crap.
Yeah. I was so that was so much fun getting to watch Emily be so excited for the charcuterie board and like do her little happy dance. And then Jeff's like, "Who are you?"
She's really coming into her own too. I love Emily. I'm a big Emily Flippin fan.
Hmm.
She's flipping awesome.
Flipping off.
The,
Who had Emily as the last remaining Lulu player on their bingo card?
I did not have
oh,
that.
not as the last bingo card. I had Emily as the first boot and also on my fantasy team
Yeah, you really
because
love
Govind
that,
gave me Emily. Thank you, Govind, for giving me Emily.
honestly.
Shout
Who
out
did he
Govind.
get? He got Sean.
You got
Yeah,
Sean. You got a quitter.
Nah.
coulda. Um, kind of surprised at Jeff not going more in on the quitters. Um, but yet
He's going to next season.
He should. But I was talking about this with a buddy. Like, I bring this up because he was pretty savage with the rice bag. I don't know if
Yes.
I'm getting too ahead of ourselves. I'm not sure if we're done talking about the auction, but I thought the rice bag move was the best part of the episode.
Yeah, he
I
pulled out a
I thought
fucking
so
knife.
too. I
That
thought
was
so too.
that
Yeah,
was very savage.
it was so smart, and because I loved that twist. I was just absolutely in love with that. Two people stepped out. I think it was Dee and Emily, and then Katuro's like, I think we need something to be incentivized, and then it's like, okay, stabs a knife through it. Is like, I hope maybe this will incentivize you. And then Drew's like, all right, I'll step out. Like somebody else, quick, quick.
And that's the
I
genius
love
of
that.
Jeff. And that's the genius of Jeff Probst, right? Like, you know, he was going to do that at some point, but the way he can poetically work off of Couture's words to then loop in that twist really makes Jeff one of one when it comes to just doing his job. It's not, it's there's obviously parts that are scripted, but a lot of it is the improv and what makes sense, with the timing and everything. And that's what just makes Jeff great with that. So, little shout out to JP, Jeff Probst.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, shout out Jeff Probst. All right, so we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we'll talk about what unfolded after the auction, the immunity challenge, and then the setup for tribal. So we'll be back with you very shortly.
What is up, Tribal Lines fam? We are live from my office, 8 in the morning. Mondays suck, but we can make Mondays a little bit easier by doing this. Survivor Trivia is here. Your trivia question is this. In Survivor history, which castaway holds the record for most votes cast against them, but did not count because of an idle play? Send us a DM, you get one shot.
Welcome back to the Tribal Lines podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we're gonna get right back into it. So when we get finished with the auction, we have a little Kendra sob story. And when I listen to this, because it doesn't seem like that crazy of a sob story. So I'm thinking like, okay, if there's a sob story for Kendra for no reason, does this mean she's about to go home? Like I was like kind of surprised that she was getting a sob story like this. Obviously she did not go home, but I'm nervous that she might be going home in the near future. I also think that Drew is going to do really well and go very far because he had a sob story that was deleted from the episode this episode. So I feel like if he was going out soon, he would have gotten a sob story. And instead, his sob story was not in the episode. So if his sob story is not in the episode, maybe he makes it far. That's my prediction. But what do you guys think?
I think the Kendra thing, I think it's not. I knew she wasn't going to go home. I think if anything, it was like foreshadowing. Like I think she actually makes it to the end, but like doesn't win. And that's me like reading into the edit, like a Heidi or like she had like a big package in a random episode. I remember. They've done it before. Like I don't, I don't. I see a world where like Jake and do you think Jake and Kendra could work together? Because earlier in the season, like Jake, like they wanted like Kendra wanted to work with Jake. So
Mm-hmm.
is there a world where like, he wasn't in on the Kelly plan? Like, is there a world where they kind of get together, you think?
100%, 100%. I think they're all, I think Kendra is trying to get Bruce out, and that's why they might split the vote, possibly Jake and Bruce. But if that ends up not being the case, I can totally see Jake and Kendra coming together to possibly try to take out Ariba. It all depends on if Bruce gets out of the game. If gets out of the game before Jake and Kendra, then I can see them working together. But as long as Bruce is in the game, I think Bruce and Jake are kind of like paired together as like one of them needs to leave ASAP.
Yeah. I mean, I think Jake's gonna be more open to cutting Bruce. Because my opinion on it now is this is a dude where obviously Bruce didn't have a vote, but like he was totally fine with Jake going. He was never gonna play his idol for he doesn't show like the same type. He doesn't reciprocate.
Yeah, but I don't
People
know.
start
I
to
feel like most people won't give up their idol just to save a friend when they know that probably the next round they're about to be voted
no,
for.
I absolutely agree. But like at the same time, like he's like I read something also with like Kelly little post game interview. Like Bruce like made it clear like that he was never gonna play it for Jake, like regardless. Like, but he said he would play it for Kelly.
Well, I mean, if you saw in the episode, like pretty much every 2 seconds, Bruce lets Kelly know that she's his number one.
Yeah,
So that
exactly.
makes sense. Makes sense.
You were that confident Kendra wasn't going home? Because
I
I
wasn't
was.
that. It's not that I was that confident. I thought it could ricochet onto her. I didn't think she would like be like the target. Obviously.
Yeah.
That's what I was expecting too. I didn't think she would be the target, but I thought, oh, maybe she'll go home. And like the whole thing about like, will Jake like be open to taking out Bruce or not? At this point, it's pretty obvious that Jake's on the bottom. So I think he is going to stay loyal to his allies no matter what, because it's already not looking good for him. And even if he turns on his allies now, the people who already tried to vote him out or wanted to vote him out are just going to want to vote him out again. So I think with him knowing that he's on the bottom, he's not going to turn on any of his allies no matter what, especially after he didn't turn on Caleb and now he's on the bottom. Why turn on his allies now when he'd already did it once, it backfired, and now he's kind of screwed.
There's someone that knows they're playing well at Survivor, and that's Drew. And Drew had a great episode. Like his move,
Yeah,
like
he
his
did.
big move where he pitched, Kelly and all that. That wasn't even like his only move of the day, like or of the episode. It was having, being able to get that information from Emily because he wasn't even asking for it. So that's how you know he's playing a good social game and that he has a good strategic relationship with her. And he has, outside of Austin, outside of the Reba before, he has someone else that probably I feel like Emily's closest with Austin and Drew. Like, I don't know who, if like one outweighs the other, but I think it might be Drew if they showed us her telling him in an alone spot, not even waiting for it to be them three like with Austin.
He wanted Bruce out regardless. In order to do that, he wanted to make Katura feel like she was in charge. So he goes up to Katura with Julie and Austin and is like, as a sign of trust, we want you to choose the target, knowing that Katura would have said Bruce, which was Drew's target initially. So he's making it seem like Katura is the mastermind behind it, when in reality he's doing that specifically so that Katura will trust him, but he's also getting his way because that's who he wanted out anyway. So I thought that was really smart.
No, yeah, for sure. It was great gameplay.
How'd you know that Drew had a sob story that got deleted?
It was on.
So on like Instagram or Twitter, they show like deleted scenes from the episode, like one or two deleted scenes each week.
Offline, tell me where I should follow that.
Okay, where
This is why I defer to you guys. This is why I'm a guest at the end of the
I
day.
think it's like all winners survivor on Instagram or something like that. I don't know exactly, but something like that. But yeah, I'll let you
Can I
know.
have my Bruce moment for a second? Remember that time when Steven told me I had a great idea that Survivor should take, where for the auction they should have advantages, maybe or not maybe. Remember that?
Yeah,
This is my-
Bruce. We remember. We remember Bruce.
I remember Bruce.
Thank you. Thank you. I made
Love him, Bruce.
How's the smell of your fart?
it smells great. It smells great in Hoboken. And I made a tribal pod history.
Didn't even say it right.
Fuck no. Sorry. Sorry. Our sponsors are gonna kill me.
He's like Steve. He's like Steve and Pat Tribal Pod on the line.
And I also thought it was really funny when Katura was like, should we touch or something?
Oh yeah, just like for unity.
Yeah, for to like a handshake or something instead of being like, should we shake on it? Just like, should we touch or something? I thought that was hilarious.
Sure. Yeah, but we eventually get to this immunity challenge. We talked about the rice negotiation, and you know what? 1/3 of the body weight connected to the rope. What is it gonna crush? Is that a pelican?
A bird, yeah, maybe a pelican or something.
I was loving Jake the whole time. I wanted him to win because I thought at first I was like, all right, he's gonna be like a third person out because he was shaking from the very beginning almost.
I thought he was going to be an early one out too, but he surprised me and he was hilarious during the challenge. I loved watching him.
Yeah, no, I just loved like his casual just like banter with Jeff. like just like
Mhm.
going back and forth with Jeff. Like that's what I'd want to do out there. I just want to be like shooting the shit with Jeff while I'm like holding a pole.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Exactly. And what I thought was interesting too is um when there were, I think it was when there were four left or three left, I don't remember, but it's when they were on their last like spot where you didn't have the rope like helping you anymore, you had to hold on to the end. Um I think three of the last four people were holding it with their left hand, and Bruce was the only one holding it with his right hand. And I don't think all of them are lefties. So I thought that was a little bit interesting for the people who were righties holding all the weight with their left hand when their right hand is probably stronger.
Well, they're probably like my right hand's just like so weak at this point. I have a better shot with this hand.
Maybe, yeah.
Like or like maybe the grip, like like it would just hurt at that point, like the it's like going through your skin a sense, like in a sense.
Yeah, maybe like for the first few times when they were holding the rope, it was with their right, so they had to change to their left because the right was hurting so bad, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Okay, that
It
makes sense.
was interesting that they did a challenge that was so subjective when it comes to keeping your arm straight versus bent.
Yeah.
Because imagine if someone did bend their arm and then recovered because of that. I mean, that would have to be a disqualification. Fortunately, that didn't happen in the episode, but I just thought it was very interesting how that was pretty subjective
Hmm.
for me personally. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
he
that
did it.
almost happened to Kendra, but Kendra ended up getting out for
All right.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, Bruce ends up winning immunity, but he doesn't have a vote, so he's irrelevant in a sense.
yeah, pretty much.
Spectator.
He's the nothing burger for the rest of the episode. He's just there. I love the confessional of like Kendra being like, "Oh my God, of course Bruce won," and then he's just like laughing with the immunity necklace. Like they're just having so much fun this season, which is makes it more fun for us as too.
I wish when he did the confessional, I don't know if he did, maybe I missed it, but I would have loved for him to, with the immunity necklace around, have his idol in his hand and just shake it.
Yeah,
So he like, I got immunity and immunity.
yeah, he's like double safe.
Mhm.
Can't tell.
I hope Austin does that when he when if he wins immunity and then he's like, I got this, and I got this because he's got two idols.
Yeah.
That would be such a amazing confessional.
Mhm. So we end up getting back to camp. And the first thing is like Jake, they want him to throw out a name. And Jake's not playing into it. He said before, he's like, I don't want to play like too recklessly. He's very aware. Like Jake's like an actor and a lawyer. I feel like he's got like the best of both worlds when it comes to playing the game because when you're like working in he works with kids, he does theater, like stuff like that. Like he's very like vulnerable. He's very in touch with himself, and that's like powerful. Vulnerability is power. And I also think at the end of it, like he's a lawyer, so he's obviously smart. He's obviously calculated in a sense, and he's able to cover up his threat level with his kind of just like whatever mentality, right? So I think that we're really starting to see where his gameplay really begins. And I think that I stand by it. I don't know if he's going to win, but I think he's going to be in the final three. Like he
That would be cool. Like
always make him relevant, even if he's not, right? Like he's just like I don't know. I just think he's got a great shot of getting far in this game, and I'd like to see where his gameplay goes after seeing it kind of come to fruition.
mhm.
I'm amazed you have that foresight just because to me it's like Bruce, he goes, and then Jake's the bellow guy, you
Yeah, but they
know.
might want to just like use like they might just like you know what I mean like an Owen like they might be like a non-threat like a Xander, right? Like I was shocked that Xander got to the end and like he was never like a big threat. Like
Right.
no one viewed him as a threat, and it might play in the same way for Jake. So who
You ever
knows?
get the Xander vibes, Pat, by the way?
What's that?
Really off topic, but like you kind of give me Xander vibes. You ever
I'll
get that?
take it as a compliment. I've heard it before, but I doubt it. He's like way better looking than me, way more physical than me, and we might be like
Probably better
strategically and
hitter.
socially maybe the same, like just like the same kind of vibe, but like I
But
don't
you've
know.
got it before.
What's that?
You've gotten it before.
No.
So it's not a bad take.
Yeah. All right, I'll take it. I mean,
All
Xander's cool. Xander was a good new era player for me. I think
He was robbed. He shouldn't have gotten zero votes.
yeah.
I personally thought he should have won that season, but
wow.
I don't
Nice.
know. that's a hot take, but
I love Deshaun.
That's very hot. We'll have a
yeah.
beer over that, Steve.
Yeah.
But sorry, reel us back in.
All
Yeah,
right. Yeah. So Jake is, looking for an idol now that he feels like he's definitely the one who's being targeted because nobody's sharing a name with him. And if nobody's saying who he should vote for, that means they probably just don't have another name, and it's obvious, and you're the name. So he goes looking for the idol. He asks Bruce if he can have his idol. He's thinking about playing the shot in the dark. Him looking for the idol, unfortunately, is not. I knew he was never going to find an idol because there's already 3 potential idols out there: the amulet, and then the 2 idols that are already in play. They're not going to have more than 3 idols, and an idol didn't just go home last tribal council, so they're not going to hide another one. But got to do what you got to do. You don't know if all the idols are found or not, so you gotta look if you think you're in trouble. And Kelly was worried that because she talks to Bruce a lot, she can be seen as a tight pair with Bruce. And because of that, now that Bruce has immunity, they could split the vote between Jake and Kelly and possibly get her out if Jake plays Bruce's idol or the shot in the dark correctly. So she was a little nervous about that, but she still thought Jake was going to be the main vote. That was a crazy blindside.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really thought Jake had an idol for a second, the way he played that off. And that's
I
just
I
A lot of people
personally
did.
think that he that was part of him having his little word seizure. Um,
I was playing too, I
I
think.
I think it was planned. I think he thought about specifically fumbling the words like that so that they would split the vote.
yeah.
Um,
I think that was to Pat's point, he's an attorney and he's an actor, great with words. And I
mhm.
do think after he said it, he definitely did that on purpose. But in the moment, it didn't seem like that. And then of
Right.
course when the pause, it felt like when he paused and it's like, I thought that was maybe idle instead of the shot in the dark. But
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for some reason I did too. The way he was like trying to like setting it up, but
right.
I knew it wasn't an idol, but he set it up for like someone for like the people around him to think that he was about to pull out an idol.
Right.
It was funny how he was like, "Can I have Caleb blow on it?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
For
good.
good luck. Okay. Before we talk about our pool picks, we have Chad has a question for Jared. Jared, which would be harder, holding 1/3 of your body weight or eating a fisheye?
Oh, that definitely the holding 1/3 of the body weight because I'm going to PT right now for my shoulder. Uh, but I mean that's quicker, right? I mean, one is, mind over matter, quick, done with the fisheye. The other is endurance.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's brutal because you never know when that's going to end. You do know when it's going to end with the fisheye. So give me the fisheye. I will take a fisheye.
Do you think you'll actually be able to finish a full fisheye?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Next time Jared's on the podcast, we're gonna give him a fisheye.
Yeah,
Please do.
fuck that. That's all you, bro.
10 years old after watching episode of Fear Factor, I ate half a worm, willingly ate half a worm, and I made sure it was not the poopy side.
There we go.
Very
Like,
strategic.
Yeah.
all right. So let's get into our survivor pool picks. So right now in the survivor pool, we had started with 9 people. After episode 2, we had 8, and ever since then, we have still had 8. Nobody has been eliminated. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty. We have one person, Pat, with 5 people left to choose from. We have Madison with 3 people left to choose from, and myself, Jared, and everyone else in the pool have 4 people left to choose from. So we're going to start running out of picks soon. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens over the next few weeks. I have to pick from either Jake, Julie, Katura, or Kendra. Pat can pick from Austin, Bruce, D, Jake, and Katura. And Jared can pick from D, Jake, Katura, or Kendra. So, Pat, who are you going to pick out of those 5 for episode 9?
I'm taking Bruce, guys. I was never like switching. I'm taking Bruce. I have to take Bruce at this point. I think that's the only smart choice on my board. I mean, I have because I mean, arguably, I don't know, I have some ways that I could go with it, but I'm taking the safe pick and the pick that I feel is right. I'm taking Bruce.
Okay. Jared, who do you think you
I
want
think
to
I think I'm gonna get screwed with this, and I'm gonna run out of picks eventually. For me, I got D, Jake, Couture, Kendra. I think Jake can be the Owen like we talked about and make it to the end. Someone just bring him as a GOAT because he's kind of persona non grata with Bruce. I think D is in a great position, so I don't want to pick D. So to me, it's between Kendra and Couture, and I think one of them is end up gonna go home because Bruce is gonna play his idol. I think it's gonna be Kendra to go home because they gave her that emotional edit from this past episode. So I gotta pick Katura, and I think I'm gonna lose Kendra. So I think I'm losing two of my available picks, and I'm gonna get screwed. But I'm gonna take Katura as my survivor pool pick. I don't think she's going home.
All right. For me, this is a tough one. Just like you, so I can pick Julie, but I think I'm saving for the end because I think she's going to make it to the end. She's in a powerful position right now as part of Reba and with Emily on their side too. And I don't think anyone is going to target Julie for being a threat. We're starting to get down to the time where you're looking at threats, not necessarily just people in the opposite alliance. So I think Julie will make it far. I think it wouldn't make sense for me to pick Jake because I could see him possibly going far if he survives this next round when Bruce plays his idol. So I am going to save Jake to see what happens. So I'm between Katura and Kendra, just like you. And I think Kendra is going to go home very soon. But I am very nervous to pick Katura. So I think I'm going to go Kendra.
Why are you nervous about Katura? I literally just picked her.
Because I feel like I'm not nervous that she'll go home, but I'm nervous that Katura will be someone I can use in the future. And if I pick Katura now, then I'll have like not a lot of people to choose later on. And if Pat keeps doing well with his picks, I'm kind of screwed. So I need to be a little more aggressive. I need to be aggressive, and that's why I'm picking Kendra. I think she'll be out in one of the next couple of tribals, and I'm hoping it's not next tribal so that I can have more people to choose from in the future rounds. So
I think one of you two are going to be eliminated this week.
Shut
I
up.
really, I think it's
Bruce, you think Bruce is
Bruce.
about to be a
Yeah, I
possible?
think Bruce is the type of player that can go home with an idol in his
I
pocket.
said that earlier, but I like that's just me. Like that's more of like a hope. I don't think it's actually gonna happen.
I don't think it's likely now that Kelly's gone. I think he's going to be a little more weary. We saw that in the scenes where he's like, "Oh, I lost my closest ally." But if Bruce plays his idol, then I think it's between Kendra and Katura.
I feel like Bruce is not going to is going to play his idol, but maybe won't get the most votes. There could be another more strategic plan going on, and they get Bruce to flush the idol. I don't 100% think this is going to happen, but this is just a wild, very hot take. Based on the scenes from the next episode, how Austin says that he doesn't want to blindside D because they are so close. That's the complete opposite of making it seem like D's going home. Whenever they make it seem like D's going home, they'll say like, maybe I have to blindside D. But the fact that Austin's saying I don't want to blindside D, hot take, D is going home next week.
That'd be awful.
Hot take, D is going home next week. I'm edit reading the shit out of the next scenes from the next episode. So we'll see if my take ends up being true, but
that would be wild, my friend.
We will see.
I might get another blindside.
I know I gotta rock and roll soon here. I want to thank you guys for allowing me to be on the Tribal Lines podcast.
There it is, baby.
But I want to bring up one other take, and I'd be remiss if we didn't comment on one of the spiciest reactions from an eliminated contestant of all time. And to me, what's so fascinating is one of the classic lines from Jeff is, once the votes have been read, the decision is final. Person may be asked to leave the tribal voting area immediately. think I got that spot on. And she did not leave immediately. She
No one does.
kept her,
Oh,
she
no
kept
one,
her
yeah.
sweet ass time. And I feel like she even was there longer because we kept just seeing Jake's reaction being like, and so
Was
to
it
me,
great?
it felt like she was there for a long ass time to the
Yeah.
point where they had to like edit parts out. And that to me was just
Yeah.
very shocking, very entertaining and very shocking.
I
She
loved
was
her
like,
reaction.
she was hugging everybody and then would like look everybody in the eye. He was like, "Did you do this?"
Yeah, it felt
Every
very
single person.
Survivor. It felt very Survivor like. It
She was
felt like
so
she
upset.
was blindsided. I hate when people get blindsided and they're like, "Great move, guys." It's like, "Fuck you, no."
Yeah, that was great. Like,
Like,
we didn't get the like yelling at people reaction, which would have been even better. But at least we got a reaction, which, like you said, wasn't all lovey-dovey that someone just got blindsided. Like,
well, she'll
oh,
save
good
her
move,
yelling
Roth.
for the jury, and she'll
Yeah.
yell at the final three.
Kelly's been only
Yeah.
watching since COVID, so I don't know if she's, had a lot of Survivor or
I
has.
mean, I've only watched since COVID, and I'm pretty invested in Survivor.
No
So,
way. You've only watched since COVID?
Me too.
hmm I
No
started
way.
watching during COVID and pretty much watched every season.
First time you watched a Survivor season, both of you.
2020.
Yep.
Katiana. Cody
Season
Roth.
20 was my first season I
Are you
watched.
kidding me?
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm not. I said yes.
Well, yeah, I'm not kidding.
I'm not kidding you. Yeah.
Shocked. You guys are like encyclopedias, and here I am. I've been watching since the Stone Age. I've been watching since, Y2K. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
Well,
That's a great way to end it. I'm not as shocked as Kelly, but
Yeah,
I'm
a little
shocked.
blindside
Oh, very.
and you need to leave the podcast immediately.
Yeah,
yeah.
right. I've been voted out. I want to thank our sponsors, and I want to thank Stephen and Pat and for allowing me on Tribal Lines podcast. I had a blast.
Always a
Um,
pleasure, dude.
It was a pleasure having you on. Come back anytime. We'll have Jared hopefully back for our finale episode.
and
And
Stephen, this is for you.
thank you, Jared.
Peace out, Jared.
All right.
Slip out my tongue for those listening on Spotify.
All right, Pat. Now it's just you and me, and
Nice.
we're gonna continue recapping this episode when we get back from another commercial break.
If you're a Survivor fan who's wondered how well you might do on the show, I host my own Survivor game on Zoom where you can play in online immunity challenges, form relationships and strategize in Zoom breakout rooms, and vote people off until we crown a sole survivor. My games are only 1 day long, taking place either on a Saturday or a Sunday from 3 p.m. Eastern until 11 p.m. Eastern. So if you are interested in playing one of my Survivor games, DM us on Instagram, let me know that you want to play, and maybe you will be the next sole survivor.
Welcome back to the Tribal Lines podcast, and let's talk some more Tribal Council. So when they get into Tribal Council, we see Caleb, our first member of our jury, and he is smiling to see that Bruce won. He probably thinks it's so funny because he knows that Bruce is everyone's target, and the fact that he won immunity must have caused some crazy scramble. So that was definitely probably very funny for him to see that, of course, Bruce of all people.
Or is he smiling because he's like, "Oh, thank God I don't have to go to Ponderosa with Bruce."
I don't know, but that would be funny. He probably in the back of his head, that's probably what he's thinking.
Yeah, who knows?
But yeah, and then like we said earlier, Jake was having a little word seizure. First he would have the seizures by the fire, and then now he's having the word seizure, trying to answer Jeff's questions, make his pitch. And he's trying to say that if it's a unanimous vote against him, then the person that's next on the bottom is obviously making a bad move.
It's 100% true.
Yeah, I mean, if at the next tribal, they're going to be on the bottom, and if they get a plan together, if they obviously should try to get a plan together to make sure that they're not on the bottom. But if they can't get a plan together, I understand why you would want to make it unanimous so that you don't make yourself a target by voting in the minority. But at the same time, if you know you're on the bottom, you should try to make something happen. It didn't look like anyone was trying to make anything happen other than Drew trying to get Kelly out instead.
Yeah, agree.
Mm-hmm. And So yeah, Jake ended up playing a shot in the dark. He thought it was him. It ended up being not safe, and
Whoa! Sorry. Whoa. I love that. That was so good.
yeah, Jake's reaction to Kelly getting voted out, literally right when it was official, him doing that whoa scream, that was pretty funny. But yeah, we got Jake, 1 vote Jake, 2 votes Jake, 3 votes Jake, Kelly, and Kelly was shocked. She's like, "What? Are you kidding me?"
Because
And
that
right,
one vote meant it was her. Like,
yeah, once you saw that 1 vote, it was obviously Kelly going home. I think she knew that too, and that's why she was so shocked. Because I don't know if should be really shocked that she was the one receiving some votes, because
I just think
she even said in her confessionals they might decide to split the vote on her. But once it was Jeff read Jake, and then Kelly, like Jeff is people who kind of understand the way that Jeff reads votes, like that was obviously set up for Kelly to have all the other votes, or else they would have done Jake Kelly, Jake Kelly, Jake Kelly. So yeah, that was definitely a spoiler that at that point Kelly was definitely going home, and also like the edit made it seem like Jake was 100% going home, and it seems like in every single episode this season, the person that it made it seem like was going home before tribal council ended up being the one to stay out of the 2 people in question for the vote out. So that's something to look into when you're like reading the edit moving forward, because it's happened every episode pretty much.
yeah.
But yeah, and then Jake says, after a few of the Kelly votes are read, like, oh, people are playing Survivor. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, he's got a lot of good one-liners in there.
Mm-hmm.
Very entertaining. Great
Yeah.
casting.
Mm-hmm. And then Kelly asked Austin, did you do this? And he was like, yes. Same with Emily, said that too.
I like when Jay voted out Michaela. Like that.
Yeah.
Jay was like, like, sorry.
Did you do this? Like, yeah. Same with when Alec voted out Natalia.
Yeah.
Those are
I look for those
honestly,
moments.
those moments are amazing. The blind sides where you know that someone who's in your close alliance was most likely the one to do it, and you just look at them and then be like, are you serious? Like same thing with kind of Caleb staring down Keturah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was that too. But yeah, in the scenes from the next episode, so it looks like there's going to be 3 tribes of 3 competing in the immunity challenge. It says that all 3 people are going to lose their vote, but I feel like it's not actually going to be that. I think it's going to be possibly having something to do with the journey, where you could lose all 3 votes, but like probably isn't going to happen. Maybe only one person loses their vote. But that's definitely, the journey is going to be something interesting. We haven't had a journey in a few episodes. And my prediction with this whole like 3-part immunity challenge is it's probably going to be like all 3 teams compete, and then like the 2 first teams to win like make it to the next round. Then it's a 1v1 in the teams, and then whichever team wins, now it's individual, and then the 3 people from the winning tribe ends up competing 1v1 for immunity. I think that might be what happened, like kind of like with the one that Gabler won.
Yeah.
How it was like in pairs, and then it ended up being individual. Like I think it could be something like that.
For sure. Yeah, I see that.
You see that?
Yeah, I haven't thought too much into it, to be honest. I missed the first 15 minutes of the episode yesterday. I had to rewatch it. Kind of just been so busy. But I'm eager to see, like, because I know that I talk about in a sense of like liking like just like normal immunity challenges, normal votes, but like it's always interesting as a viewer though, because I'm talking if like I was a player sometimes, right? And I have to get out of that sometimes because I'm not a player. I'm on the couch watching. So as a viewer, sometimes I should just sit back and just like enjoy it as a viewer, because it's going to be very entertaining to see who's a trio. Like, do 3 Rebas get together, right? Like are they, are 3 Rebas together, or is it like you know, 3 people that don't have any working relationship together at all, but have to make a decision at a journey? I'm eager to see what kind of things kind of, formulate from those types of things that are thrown into the game.
And if also like
100
somebody
toes.
win an advantage as well. So I wanted to ask you about Drew's decision not to play a safety without power. It is no longer can be used. Final 10 was when it expired. I mean, he didn't really have to use it. Was this smart not to use it at all?
No, you just hold on to it and say, I never had to use this. I was never in any danger. In his deleted scene, so it's obviously come up in camp around people that he's talked to. He's had to have been vulnerable with these people. When you're out there, you're vulnerable, right? Everyone is vulnerable in a sense. He's had to have told his tribe about what he told the confessionals about, just feeling like how he kind of just felt like an outcast, didn't really fit in, and always kind of felt like that imposter syndrome, kind of what Jesse talked about a bit in 43.
Mhm.
That's a great story at the end. I am the nerd archetype that gets targeted for being too strategic. I was able to actually lean on my social game while making moves behind everyone, behind the scenes. And then I held on to the safety without power because I was so likable that I should have went at that split and I didn't because no one wanted it. It was shut down immediately.
Right.
So
Yeah, exactly.
he just brings it to the end with him.
All right. So before we end this podcast, we have one more question from our viewers. We have a question from Jake, and he asks, "Who's the clear front runner now that Kelly is out? My money is on Emily." Pat, what do you think?
So is that you saying your money's
No,
on Emily?
Jake's money is on Emily. I'll
Yeah.
give my opinion, but let me see what you think.
Okay. Am I reading the edit or am I just a fun casual fan?
Give both, I guess.
Okay, if I'm reading the edit, D is our winner. If I'm reading into just what I feel, I think we see a Jake win. So, yeah.
Okay, all right. Um, so I'll give two picks as well.
But Jake's definitely not a front runner in his current position. Let's be clear.
Yeah, okay, front runner in Pat's heart, but
Yes.
not in reality.
Or, I think I actually do think, and I stand on it, that although I do like the Austin and Drew pair a lot, neither of them are winning.
I think that Austin won't win because he'll eventually be too big of a threat with all of his idols and everything, and just him being a physical threat, him always being in the majority, him
It's
not
a
rubbing people
Survivor
the
play.
wrong way.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. But I am very high on Drew. Drew has been very strategic. He's having a great edit. Nobody is really looking at him as a threat. I haven't heard in any of conversation that has been shown in the edit that he has even been talked about as a threat. D has been talked about multiple times as a threat. Right now, she is just protected by her Reba alliance. I definitely see a world where Drew is on board to take out D, and D might be on board to take out Drew, and Austin has to decide which way to go. And I think Austin will take out D before he takes out Drew, because of how close they are with each other, Austin and Drew. And I think D is probably going to be one of the edits where it's like she's a threat and so it looks like she has a good chance of winning, but that's actually why she gets taken out. I think
Well,
Drew is going to end up winning.
well, may I just say, you say that Austin would be more inclined to take out D before Drew. I disagree. I think he takes out Drew before D, and this is why. I think if he's thinking about, not only do we see a lot of how it's D and Mama J, and then how it's Drew and Austin, and how they're tight, and how they're tight, and how the four of them are tight together as well. But you obviously see, like, a strategy game, game view, you see the two separate us in a sense. So I think that Austin, because of the way that he feels about D, just on a personal level and on a game level, I have to differentiate, myself from this person that I've been doing a lot of doing a lot of the work with. Like they've been making decisions together the whole time. I think if he has to make a move, it's a bigger move for his resume to take out a Drew than to take out a D. I think he has a better shot sitting next to D, but if D's there without Austin, she has a good shot.
I definitely think that Austin, if given the opportunity, would take a shot at Drew, but I think it would be after D. I think D would be one of the first Rebas to get a shot taken at. She might be an early Reba boot, but if Austin does decide to turn on Drew, I think it might be final 6, final 5, somewhere around there when they're starting to think, oh, I need to take him out because I want to be able to differentiate my game to him in the final 3.
Drew just feels like seventh.
I think this would be too early, like in the next few rounds, to take out Drew, his number 1.
Drew just feels like 7th place. I don't know. That just like feels right.
That could happen. I could definitely see that happening. I really, it's very hard to predict this season because I can see so many different blind sides happening. I think it's very unpredictable. I could see many different possibilities for final 3. So I'm just excited to watch this out. But yeah, to answer Jake's question, I think Drew is personally in the front runner to win, along with D. I think whichever one of them cannot get out first, I think we'll have the best chance of winning.
We want to thank everybody so much for listening to the Tribal Lines podcast. Steven and I, we love the game. If you're listening, you love the game. We like to have a lot of fun on here. You know, it's super fun, super casual. We want to thank, Jared again for joining the Tribal Lines podcast. And we will see you shortly again we'll see how many people vote. We'll see what the journey is. We will see you for episode 9. It's going to be a banger. The whole season's been great. So from Steven, from myself to y'all, have a great rest of your night or your morning commute or whatever you're doing. But we just want you to know that we appreciate you listening. So, hell yeah.
See you guys.
See ya.